Hello and welcome to Art with Mr. P. This week we're going to start to explore the 3D or three-dimensional, which you hopefully know by now means that not only will your artwork have width and height, but it will also have depth. So thinking about things that are 3D, a little bit like in numeracy where you think about the difference between 2D shapes and 3D shapes. So we're going to be 3D, and I'm going to ask you and work with you to produce a pop-up landscape. Luckily, I found some sturdy paper, and I'm going to fold this in half. So that will provide the structure that I'm looking for to create this pop-up landscape. I put that to one side. I then find myself another piece of sturdy paper, and on here I draw the things that I would like in my landscape. So I think I would like some mountains. So I'm going to do this quite quickly, but you can spend a lot more time thinking about what you will want in your landscape, yeah? So we got some snow-covered peaks on some mountains. So I'm going to cut those out. Now you can add colour to this. I'm not going to bother because I don't want to use up your precious time. Now what I want to happen is for the mountains to stand away from the background, but to collapse when I fold this, just like a pop-up card, yeah. So I'm going to need some tabs, and by that what I mean is some strips, rather like that. And what I do is glue these strips onto the back of my mountain. Now I've got to be careful not to get glue onto the mountain, but to keep the glue on my tabs, yeah. So I try to keep this at right angles to the edges, and bearing in mind that this isn't going to be very far from the background, I can cut these quite short. Okay, I think I'm going to cut them about here, roughly the same. I also need to stick the mountains to the bottom, so I'm going to fold over the bottom a bit as well. So just to hopefully make it fairly obvious, there are my mountains drawn. They've got a kind of foot, and the tabs are glued to the back. So I can glue the mountains onto the bottom of my card, my background. Trying to keep it at right angles to the sides. So something like that. Pressing down hard, give it a few moments to dry. Pull that back up. Now these tabs need to glue onto the background. So I push them, actually better if they went up. I push them down and work out where they need to fold. So about there. course, I could have done this before I stuck them on, couldn't I? Same for that side. A little bit of glue. Now, it's quite technical, this, so you might want to watch this more than once. I can then glue that onto here. Like that. Now, getting that right is quite tricky, so what I'm actually going to do is to collapse it and press it down. And when I pull that up, then the mountains are in front of the background. So it starts to look a little bit like mountains and the sky. Now, I could have gone a bit higher, of course. What I'm going to do is put some trees in front of the mountains, yeah? So I put that to one side. And I draw some trees. So what are my trees going to look like? Well, something like that. So they're definitely pine trees, aren't they? Right, now remember to leave enough space at the bottom for your foot. Cut your trees out. And it's the paper that needs to move when you're cutting out, not the scissors. The scissors just open and close. There are my trees. I fall over the foot. I stick a tab on the back. Something like that. And fold over. Let's make this a bit shorter. Fold over the tab at the other end. And then I can glue the foot. Now, bringing the card back, the landscape base. Something like this at the moment. I can put the trees in. In front of the mountains, yeah. So I stick the foot down first, and then I join the tab to the mountains, yeah. So it'd be useful if I put some glue on it. Now, what I'm hoping you're noticing is that, like in theatre design, we have flats which show the scenery, and then we've got the supports at the back. Yeah. Now, like I say, you can add colour, and you can add whatever detail you like. So I'm hoping that you can see that we're making up a 3D space with the sky in the distance, the mountains far away. In front of the mountains, we've got some trees. But of course, the marvellous thing about that is it does collapse into something that's totally 2D. But when we open it up, there we are. We have that landscape again. Right, let's do a little house. We'll do a little cottage. So something like, remember you need a foot. I'm going to do some roof. Something like that. Chimney. A window. Very long window. And a door. Okay, so we got a cottage in there. Cut that up. Fold over the foot. Probably better if the foot's a bit bigger. Get yourself a strip of card or paper for the tab at the back. Glue that onto the back of the cottage. Make the other end of the tab. And then glue that down. So at the moment you're looking at it from above, so you can see how the structure works. But if you have a look at it from in front, you can see how there are infinite possibilities. Remember, more texture, more colour, put the sun in, put clouds in, put aeroplanes in, put in whatever you like. Not only can you add to the background, but of course you can add to the base as well, so you can have a path coming off. You could have flat things. Could be a pond, I suppose. Could have all sorts of interesting things where you're combining the two-dimensional with the three-dimensional. And essentially what you're coming up with is a piece of paper engineering that is the basis for most pop-up books. I look forward to seeing what you can come up with in your feedback, either on Teams or when we meet up again at school. Be adventurous, challenge yourself, get creative, have fun. So what we've been doing is looking at, understanding and making 3D art. We started off with a two-dimensional material. We started off with sheets of paper and we've made them into a 3D pop-up landscape that hopefully suggests a bit of perspective. Next week we're going to be doing a spot of drawing, and I'll see you there.